Hey everyone, Golden Ninja 3000 here again. Today I'm reviewing LEGO Harry Potter set number 76392 Hogwarts Wizard's Chess. This has 876 pieces, 4 minifigures, and it retails for $60 in the US. This was released on June 1st, 2021 as part of the 20th anniversary wave of LEGO Harry Potter, which is why we have a golden minifigure in this set. That golden minifigure is Severus Snape. Now, this is honestly probably my least favorite golden minifigure. I love the hairpiece. That's a very useful generic hairpiece in gold. And the torso printing is pretty good, but there's no leg printing. I think that that's a little bit disappointing because Snape minifigures do have just a little bit of kind of coat leg printing. So I would have preferred to see that because golden normal size legs are not new. But like I said, I do enjoy the sparkles on the torso. We've got the golden wand and the golden minifigure base plate. And then around the back, we do have that 20-year sign. Like all the other golden minifigures, he doesn't have an alternate face either, which is something I would have liked to have seen. We have exclusive casual variants of the trio in this set, and I love this torso on Harry, especially with the little bit of ripped detailing. The face is the same as always, as is the wand, but I think that it was really nice of LEGO to include 3 exclusive minifigures along with the golden Snape in this set. Here's Ron. I think his torso is probably the weakest of the 3 just because it's a little bit lacking in detail. The shirt underneath is just very plain, I feel like, for a modern LEGO minifigure. But that's definitely a nitpick. The rest of the torso printing is fantastic. You have some back torso printing as well, and then you also have his alternate face. Here's Hermione. I think I like her torso the best because it just works really well as kind of a generic Christmas sweater. Her hairpiece is great as always, and then removing that hair and not the entire figure, you can see her back printing, which is also pretty intricate. Just wish the white was a little bit more opaque, and then there's a better look at her torso without the hair covering it. You get 3 chocolate frog cards in this set. Luckily, all of mine were unique. I got Madame Maxime, Dumbledore, and then Rowena Ravenclaw again. I say again, I don't remember what order. I don't know what order I'm uploading these videos in. I don't even remember the order that I built these sets in, but I did end up getting a ton of duplicates of all of 3 of these cards, but it's still nice to not have any duplicates in the actual set. And I think this is only the only founder card I got, and you can see it's got kind of a copper finish compared to the other one's gold finishes. Before I get to the chessboard, we're going to start by looking at the pieces. These are all identical, just in opposing colors. I think that they're all very accurate to the actual movie. These pawns are pretty nice. The only difference in the build is that the white pawn uses the BB-8 head from Star Wars, while the black pawns use the BB-9E head. Both of them have this City Miners helmet on the top. I think that that's a great use of that piece turned around. And they are holding little swords. I don't know if they're new in these colors, but they're new to me. And so getting so many of them in one set is really awesome. And surprisingly, these pieces weren't too tedious or annoying to build. This goes for pretty much all of them, but the builds for the pieces went by much quicker than I expected, which I definitely appreciated. We're just going to go in order of whatever's closest to me to grab. So here are the rooks or the castles. These, I don't want to say they're my favorite pieces, but actually, honestly, they might be besides the pawns because I just love the way that they're built, kind of with that arm holding the sword back and then with the other arm holding the shield forward. They have minifigure heads underneath there, and they are using this kingdoms or castle, helmet piece. Again, I don't know how many of these pieces are new in white and black, but I haven't seen them in that color before, and so I really, really like them. Here are the knights. I think that these look pretty great. I mean, obviously the horses aren't very well defined at such a small scale, and the figure, riding the horse, has kind of almost vanished. It's basically just a head and an arm, but they still look really cute. I love the angle. The one thing I'm going to call out here now, and I will do this in the future too, I don't like the color of hollow studs used here. We have hollow studs in white and in black, so I don't understand why they weren't used here instead of dark bluish gray and light bluish gray. Around the back, there's not much detail, and again, it's just a minifigure head with a castle helmet. Now, you can actually do some disassembly to get a minifigure to ride the horse like Ron did. So, I mean, if you pop off the head and then kind of just start breaking off the sides a little bit, I'm going to have to break off that side too. You can pop this brick out, and then that gives you a space to be able to put a minifigure on the horse. So I appreciate that it is possible to do this. It looks a little bit ridiculous, but, you know, at least you can actually do that to faithfully recreate the movie scene. Here are the bishops. These are pretty boring pieces, honestly, probably my least favorite. They do have these interesting whips. Again, don't know if they're new in that color, but like these were older whip pieces that LEGO doesn't really use as much anymore, but I really like seeing them. Other than that, something clearly went wrong here because one of these is built differently than the other. I'm not sure which way is correct, so I'll have to just fix that after I'm done filming this segment. But the hollow studs here are what's really bothering me because these look so out of place. And again, the hollow studs exist in that color, so I don't understand why LEGO couldn't have just used white and black there to make them look better. And now we've got the kings and queens. The queens are also fairly plain. I wish something different had been done with the heads. I don't really know what LEGO could have done, but I feel like they look a little bit plain. And then again, having like these hollow studs poking out at the back isn't a great look, as well as, you know, those stud pieces in the center being those gray colors. Around the back, they are covered up pretty well, but the kings are the real stars of the show here. I love the way that these are built with a different style of castle helmet this time, and then the longer sword piece. That looks fantastic. Again, very similar to the movie at such a small scale, and I really like these pieces. I think I like the king pieces, the rook pieces, and then the pawn pieces the best out of all of these, just because they look so similar to the movie, even at such a tiny scale, and they're just such great designs, honestly. So now it's time to get into the board itself. This is built differently from some other LEGO chessboards because you don't have jumpers to move the pieces around on. I am kind of missing that, because they look great like lined up next to each other, but it's like really frustrating, especially for someone like me that wants everything to be like done perfectly. It's frustrating to get them like perfectly centered, although it does make them much easier to move because then instead of having to pick up a piece, you can always just, you know, like slide it forward. And overall, I do think that it looks very clean and smart, I think is the best way to describe that. Maybe the Great British Baking Show is rubbing off on me a little bit too much. But it's just a very, very good look. And again, just like the lines of pieces next to each other look great. So I'm just going to spin this around quickly before I have to sweep all the pieces off the board. I also really like the flames along the edge. I mean, I can talk about that right now. I think they add just a little something to this. It definitely makes it, again, just more interesting than if the edges were completely blank. So spinning this around, you can see all of the black pieces there. And I do think the white pieces look better just because they stand out a little bit more. They're a little bit more crisp, but overall, like everything just looks perfect. All right, so with the pieces off, now you can start to get a little bit of a better look at the board itself. It's just a bunch of 2x4 tiles lined up next to each other. This was very quick and easy to build. I actually really liked the build process for this set. Like I said, it was broken up very well. It wasn't too tedious, and it was just very interesting, actually, because if I flip this over, the bottom of this chessboard is not something I was expecting. So you've got a bunch of these like inverted sloped pieces to balance it almost, and then you even have rubber tires so that it doesn't slip when you're pushing it around. And there's just a bunch of slats. I posted on my Instagram story, and I was like, this reminds me of my IKEA bed frame, because you've just got all these slats like running across a hollow center, and then you have like the chessboard pieces placed on top of there. So it's really easy to just, you know, like blow those out and like create holes. But it's really interesting because I have the other Lego chess set, the iconic chess set, and it was not built like this at all. Here are the extra pieces. I love getting those extra swords in those colors. Here's the box for this set. It's like a $50 box size, and I do like, you know, the art kind of like with that like dungeon style room in the back. On top, we've got some chess pieces. On the side, we do have the golden snake. And then at the back, you've got even more chess pieces just like fallen over, as well as a little lineup of everything that's included. And you get Ron on the knight. This is a very thin instruction manual for such a large set, which is to be expected, you know, because there's so much repetition in here. But here's an example of just how the build was broken up, which I appreciated. You build the chessboard first, then the pawns, the black pawns, then the other black pieces, then the white pawns, then the other white pieces. So like I said, the experience was pretty nice, which is definitely something I was afraid of with such a repetitive build. And then at the back, you do have the regular ads, all the Hogwarts sets connected, and then the Chocolate Frog cards. So here's my attempt at having everything artfully fallen over like it was on the box. I do not have the patience to line all of these pieces up again, but I do really like this set, a lot more than I expected, because this was originally rumored to be the $250 direct-to-consumer set, and I would have screamed that would have been the worst choice that LEGO has ever made. So I'm really happy that it was just made as, you know, kind of like a medium-large set at $60. However, I do feel like it's a tad expensive for $60. I mean, the price per piece ratio is fantastic, but that's not like the end-all be-all of LEGO. There are a ton of tiny pieces in here. There's a ton of repetition in here between the pieces and the building, and, you know, like it definitely cuts down on cost if you have like 100 of the same pieces. So even though it's got like 900 pieces for $60, I still think this should be a $50 set when all is said and done. The last chess set was $50 and it had like 1,000 pieces, like 1,500 actually. And I mean, that's an unfair comparison because it wasn't licensed. And this does give us 4 exclusive minifigures, which is fantastic. But I mean, I still feel like it's just a little bit too expensive for $60. I would have expected, like, I wasn't sure if you'd be able to store the chess pieces in here. I assumed you wouldn't be able to. And I'm okay with that because I still think it looks very good. But for $60, compared to past chess sets, I think that this is just, like I said, a little bit expensive. The original rumor also said it might be able to connect to the rest of the Hogwarts sets, and it is named like that because it's called Hogwarts Wizards Chess. And so that's also kind of disappointing to me that it can't connect. Obviously, something this big couldn't connect. And it's very nice to have a playable chess piece in like actual minifigure scale. But then on the other hand, it also would have been cool to get like maybe half a chessboard that could also connect to the rest of the Hogwarts sets and like that fluffy set to kind of play through the challenges. So overall, I feel like this is a skip if you're not into chess and you're not a Harry Potter completionist. But if you don't have a LEGO chess set, I think you'll be really happy with it. So that's it for today. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and check out my website, goldenninja3000.com. I'll see you guys in more videos soon. Bye for now.